So this week we aired an amazing show with Susie Benzaquen. Susie is a reflexologist and she also does aromatherapy. We talked a lot about reflexology. And I had some thoughts about alternative medicine. And in general, there's so much. The world today is so full of alternative medicine, remedies, herbs, wise people, traditional things, so many things to investigate. It can feel overwhelming. And I wanted to talk about that overwhelming feeling because sometimes when we're going through something, there's the idea to just keep running and keep running from one person to the other, looking for a fix to the situation. Now, there's always, as always, there are two sides of it, right? We don't want to give up. We don't want to give up and say, well, Hashem decided that I should have this problem, or my child or my spouse should have this problem. Who am I to go look for treatment? I'm just going to sit and wallow in my problem. That is not a mitzvah. Okay? We all have a mitzvah of ishtadlut, of trying, of attempting to search for the wisdom that's out there. But on the other side, there's a lot of wisdom out there today. And it's very difficult sometimes to know how far to go, when to stop, how much to run around. So it's important to sort of get quiet sometimes and listen to yourself and figure out, okay, first of all, first question, is this a mitzvah? Okay? Let's say, for example, you have, trying to think of something fairly simple. Let's say you have a rash, okay? Rashes don't sound too scary. Let's say you have a rash and you don't know why, and you don't know what to do about it. And maybe you've tried a couple things and it has not worked, okay? So the first question is it a good thing in the world? Is it a mitzvah to heal this rash? Now, we're not saying whether the rash is there to do some spiritual tikkun for something, because the rash is already there, okay? But Hashem wants us to be healthy. Hashem wants us to do our best to try to be healthy, to try to be happy, to try to be as serene as we can. So we're not going to moan and groan and say, oh, it's affecting my serenity. I can't be happy because of this uncomfortable rash. No. We accept it, but then it's also part of our mitzvah to search and see what we can do to heal this rash, okay? So the normal things have not worked. The things that you know about in your life have not worked. So now the question is, what do you do further, okay? So you begin investigating. You begin thinking about different paths. Now, by getting quiet, you can then see which of these things is in your world. Let's say somebody says, across the ocean in a different land, there is a healer, and he has been known to heal such rashes, okay? And let's say you happen to be traveling across the ocean to this particular place where this healer is. Why don't you give it a try? Why don't you look him up, right? But if you're living in your town and you have your budget, so your mitzvah is not to cross the ocean to look for a healer for your rash. Now, sometimes in a life-threatening situation, things may be different, but we're talking about a rash at this level, okay? So by getting quiet and looking within yourself, how much time do you have? How much energy do you have, right? Balancing that out, you can sort of try to figure out where where your healing should come from. Where is your particular mitzvah? Okay. We know that healing does not happen without Hashem putting bracha into that. We want Hashem to send the right shaliach for us, right? So if there's no bracha in it, you can run around, you can find all the remedies that heal other people, but you're not going to be healed because there was no bracha in it. Sometimes, just like they say with shidduchim, right? So a person may end up marrying the 15th person that they dated or the first person that they dated. So with the 15th person, you say, oh, I wish I could have just skipped to the 15th, or I could have skipped to the 34th. Why did I have to go through all of these difficult dates and difficult situations? Because it was part of the path, right? Each shidduch brought you closer. It is exactly the same way with healing, okay? So let's say you were inspired by Susie Benzaquen and you are going to go get reflexology. It's not a waste of time up until now that you didn't know about it, right? God willing that the reflexology will be the thing that heals you, that helps you, or helps you move to a better place. But it is a path. Hashem opens up for us the wisdom and the resources that we need in the right time. Our job is to be sort of attuned to it, sort of like how the radios or the televisions would have those antenna. We want to have our antenna in tune so that we can figure out the path that we're supposed to be on, okay? Once I was looking for a particular thing, and at the time, I didn't have the internet. I had no computer. My computer had broken, and I was in between things, and it wasn't important for me to get a new computer at the time. It was before I had a smartphone. We're talking in the olden days, right? So the thing that I was looking for, it seemed to be an online sort of situation. And my friend said, Tzivi, you don't own a computer. You don't have the internet. Your thing, your Yeshua that you're looking for, the specific thing you're looking for, you're not going to find it on the computer. Because I was at the point where I was going to a neighbor's house to use their computer. I had called up my friend saying, there's this computer lingo and they're asking me questions to sign up for this website and I don't even know what these questions mean. And she said, no. That is just not where it's going to come from. And she was right. She was right. I went a different path and I went another path and I went another path. And in the end, the answer came completely from somewhere else. But we know that that answer would not have come from somewhere else if I had not gone through my steps. By going through those steps, it made me open to receiving the answer that I needed from that somewhere else, okay? So again, we're going to go back to our simple rash, okay? You have a rash. You're figuring out what you've tried. You've assessed that it is a mitzvah to pursue healing your rash, feeling your best self. That is certainly a good thing, okay? So now you widen your circle and you look around and you evaluate between the things you've discovered, where to put your energy, where to try. And it's always good to say a tefillah, a little tefillah, a personal prayer. Hashem, I'm trying this. I'm working. If I have a tikkun, please help me fix it. If it's part of my hishtadlut, please help me direct me in the right place. If I'm on the derech for a mitzvah, then help me to find those mitzvahs. Sometimes I feel like we're sent on a path just to brighten someone else's day or just to help someone else. Yesterday, I had this amazing experience. I was talking with somebody and they kind of broke down and they said, oh my goodness, I'm embarrassed to tell you, but we're going through this huge problem. It was a financial problem, and one of the big parts of it was filing certain papers with the Israeli government. And it just so happens that I have experience filing those papers. And some of the mistakes that I had made that were not such a big deal, I was able to tell her, okay, go to this place, and then this particular form, this is the name of it, but it's missing one piece of it, and it's going to delay your filing. So just write it in by hand. Yes, they let you write it in by hand. Add that paper to your file, and everything will go faster. Call me if you have any problems, right? I was able to use my experience to help her, and Bezrat Hashem, her situation is going to be much faster. Now, when I went through it, it wasn't really a big deal, but her situation is actually an emergency situation. So even a delay of a couple days could be a very, very, very big deal. I went through my non-emergency, and now I'm able to help her prevent a problem with her emergency. And I feel like sometimes that's what it is. Sometimes we say, Hashem, I'm going out to search for healing for my rash, and I don't know why I'm going through this. Maybe I'm here to do avodah lamidot. Maybe I'm here to learn perseverance. Maybe I'm here to brighten someone else's day. Maybe I'm here to forge the path so that I can help someone in the future. Maybe it's part of a tikkun. I don't know. I don't know your cheshbonot, right? But please help me, whatever it may be. Please help me to do that to the best of my capacity. So when you do that, you can make miracles. When we're running across the ocean for something that's just not in our world, there's no bracha in that. We end up running here, running there, being exhausted. There are people that sometimes at the end of a healing journey, they are wiped out. They need, 2 years to recover because they've wrung themselves out like a washcloth that you're just squeezing out. That's not what we want to do here, okay? We want to sleep. We want to eat. We want to respect our goof. I've heard something recently. It was beautiful. He said, it is not that we are a neshama, that we are not that we are a person having a spiritual experience, but we are a neshama, we are a spiritual being, a neshama having an olam hazeh experience, right? So you switch it around. My neshama is here for a reason. My soul is here for a reason. Every day I get up and I go around the world and I travel through my ways, but I want to accomplish something, right? I want to succeed at this game, almost like a game. It's a very serious game sometimes, but there are going to be successes and there are going to be pitfalls and there are going to be gremlins that come in from the side, and we're like Pac-Man and we're trying to get points and we're trying to find our way, and we go this way and we go that way, right? We don't always know, but Hashem knows. He's got everything covered for us, right? So when you do that and you go on your path and you keep on focusing, am I eating enough? Am I sleeping? Sometimes you do have to stretch a little bit. I'm not saying. There may be a day that you go to bed later or you pull an all-nighter, on very rare occasions, because you've made that decision and you say, okay, I'm going to get a little bit out of balance, but this does seem worth it. But not because you're running around, not because you're like a chicken without a head, or I have no choice. I hate that word. I have no choice. I've said it myself, and I wish I could go back to my younger self and say, no, you do have a choice. This is not your mitzvah. But sometimes you can evaluate the situation and decide, yes, in this situation, I'm with this person, and I've decided, let's say we're searching for this healing or in a hospital setting, and I have decided to get a little bit out of balance, but I'm going to make it up to myself. I'm going to rest tomorrow. I'm going to eat well. I'm going to maybe order some nourishing food from a reliable place that has good quality food. You figure that out in a calm way, and then you keep taking your next step, and you can really see miracles happen. And if they don't work, you put a little more focus and a little more focus, and then you go for the next miracle. Okay? So whenever you hear about another healing, don't don't think, oh my goodness, I must run, I must try all these new things. And B'ezrat Hashem, I'm going to bring you a lot of amazing people that you're going to learn about some really amazing things, all kinds of different therapies. But don't feel like you have to do all of them right now. Just put them in your mind, put them in your tool basket, so that if something sparks you and you feel like this is the thing for me, maybe this person lives close to me and she's spoken to something that is affecting me and it's a good time, I can make the appointment. I can stretch a little bit and get on a bus or travel to this person because this is speaking to me. This is working for me. Then go for it. And you'd be amazed. I mean, there are things that I have learned about 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and now 30 years later, 20 years later, I can say, oh, hey, I know what to do about that. Our memories, Baruch Hashem, are really long for the important things that are important to us. Our bodies organize, our brain organizes this information, and it's not always in our consciousness because that would drive us crazy. But when something happens, right, let's say with that rash, I have this rash, or my child has this rash, or my grandchild has a rash, and I suddenly remember 30 years ago, I spoke to this person, and I know what to do for your rash, and it will work. So take the information, just let your body keep it in the toolbox, enjoy it, soak it in, but don't feel like you have to run on everything that you hear. That would not be good. That would just be confusing. So I want you to have an amazing day, and I want you to remember that Hashem loves you, and I want you to remember that I love you. Goodbye. Good